All right, folks, I got to say it. The women's basketball program, they're in a great spot. They're looking real nice. They've won some games that maybe weren't expected, and they've also been in the thick of it with teams that they're expected to lose to. In fact, the women's basketball program might be better off than the men's basketball team at this moment. Find out why today on Locked On Golden Gophers.
You are Locked On Golden Gophers.
No matter what we're going to do here, we're just going to keep rowing.
Your daily podcast on the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
However it turns out, we're just going to keep rowing.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
We're just going to keep rowing, and keep rowing.
You're listening to Locked On Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name's Kane Rob, host of the podcast, former collegiate football video coordinator and recruiting assistant here to talk Golden Gophers with you each and every day of the week, Monday through Friday. And today we are talking about the Gophers women's basketball team. A whole lot to cover on this team. They've been through some stuff and they've won some big games and they've lost a couple as well, but the team is very encouraging. But before we dive in, be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube where we're building the community. Drop comments down below. Let me know what you want to hear about moving forward. Who are the players you're intrigued by? What topics do you want to hear? Drop it all below in the comments. Much appreciated. And follow wherever you get your podcasts at Locked On Golden Gophers. Now today, the Gophers women's basketball team should have you excited, and honestly, I'm going to be blunt. This Gophers women's team is doing exactly what we wanted and expected from the men's team, while the men's team has been much slower to click. If you're a fan of Gopher sports, you should be out there supporting this fun squad and see what they've been cooking up at the women's Gophers basketball team. That is, first of all, let me stress, that's not hating on the men's team by any means, because I'm very excited for them in the long run too. But the expected growth and development that you wanted to see and the more competitiveness in the games that you wanted to see with the men's program just haven't been there yet. They're not clicking. They don't have the chemistry, and it's just not there. And we talked about that earlier this week as well. Now it can be, and it can develop, and hopefully they close out December starting to find some of that magic. But the difference is the women have that going right now, and they don't get enough support. They don't get enough turning out to the games. And now is the time to start getting out there, showing your support, showing love, and supporting this basketball team that is really showing its rebuilding efforts and growth are going exactly the way that they need to be going. Now, currently, as of this recording, again, I'm recording this a little earlier because I'm on my honeymoon currently when you're listening to this. So I just want to make sure you have the content out there. But again, this is recorded a little bit ahead of time. So technically, I won't know the result of the 12-14 December 14th game to add into these statistics and information that I have right now. But I do have it up until that game. So the Gophers are 6-5 right now, possibly 7-5, since they have that game on December 14th when you're listening to this. They have a net ranking of 112th. It might have moved up a little bit since the last time I looked at it. They're 0-3 on the road. They're 1-0 in neutral games, and they're 5-2 at home games. And they've hung in every single game they've played outside of maybe that Iowa game. Now, yes, they may have lost some games that they shouldn't have, mainly the NDSU game, a net 171 ranking team, but they also have been fully in these games and down to the wire with big teams and some of the lower teams as well. But they've been showing the competitiveness, the grit, the grind, and the toughness through it all. In fact, even in that NDSU game, they were down to the wire in the game, maybe a point behind or a point ahead with like a minute or less left. So really in the thick of it when it comes to these games. Now, on top of that, they lost in a 3-point loss to an undefeated, on the verge of ranked Virginia team, which is the net 25 ranked team in the nation. They beat Penn State in a double overtime, and they were 7-1 at that point, and they're a net 55 in the nation. They were down to the wire with Wake Forest, which ended up being a loss in the last 30 seconds due to a big 3-point shot and then a couple fouls that had to happen. So the lead looks bigger than it actually was, but it was down to a single basket game in the final 30 seconds, net 82 ranked team. And then a close loss to Kentucky, which was the net 92. And they hung in there 10 to 12 points through 3 quarters with the number 16 ranked Iowa, the net 12th team in the nation. So overall, this team is a fun one and one that should, catch a lot of unsuspecting teams off guard. They're 11th in the Big Ten currently, and I truly think they could finish their way to around 8th in the Big Ten. But how do they get there? Let's talk about what's been standing out, which players have really been stepping up for the Gophers. And the first thing we have to talk about when it comes to that is this true freshman class, which is one of the best in the nation and the best ever here with the women's Gophers basketball team. That's coming up next. First, I want to talk to you about a message from the NHTSA. You're hanging out with some friends and you're putting a few back, a few drinks, and then a few become a few too many. And as the evening comes to an end, people start to head out and you think, maybe call for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What are the odds you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst thing that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, you kill someone. Everyone knows about the risks of drunk driving. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay after a few drinks, think again, play it safe, and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. All right, Gophers fans, thank you for listening to Locked On Golden Gophers and making us your first listen when it comes to Gophers daily sports. We're diving in on the women's basketball team, and these freshmen are no joke. Amaya Battle right now is third on the team in scoring with 10.8 points per game, third on the team in rebounds with 5.8 rebounds per game, and first on the team in assists with 5 assists per game, which was 6th in the entire Big Ten Conference. So she's already a top 10 assist leader in the entire conference. Then you move over to Mara Braun, absolute baller. In a show this summer, I talked about the 10 most exciting Gophers to watch this season, and I listed Mara Braun as the number 7 athlete across all of Minnesota sports on who I was most excited to see. And that ranking might have been an underrating because Mara Braun has been the real deal. She's first on the team in scoring with 19.4 points per game, 4th in the entire Big Ten Conference as a true freshman. First on the team in free throw percentage, shooting 94.3%. Honestly, the men's team needs to give Mara Braun a call because she is hooking it up on the free throw line, and they need to learn how to get that percentage even remotely close to her free throw shooting. Now, she's also second on the team in steals per game with 2.1 steals per game, and she's third on the team in assists with 2.4 assists per game. She's a 2-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week already, and the season is just getting started. So I imagine to see even more of those awards coming her way, and she could, in fact, win Freshman of the Year in the Big Ten Conference. She's an absolute baller, and her and Amaya Battle have been just a great tandem for this team and getting wins. But they're not the only 2 freshmen, as Mallory Heyer is third on the team in scoring with 10.8 points per game, second on the team in rebounds with 6.5 rebounds per game, third on the team in fewest turnovers with less than a turnover per game, and third on the team with 3-point percentage with a 38.2 3-point percent. Now, think about this. They're just getting started. And you haven't even seen Nehemiah Holloway yet, who is rehabbing through an injury, but I'm more than certain that she is going to put in the consistent effort to bounce back big time and be a big time player for this Gophers team moving forward. You see her energy off the court. You see her cheering her teammates on. You even get videos from the Gophers Twitter account showing her rehab process. You should follow Coach Shimmy because she gives love to all the players and she gives love to her bigs players. And Nehemiah Holloway is grinding, and she is going to be a big player on this team moving forward. So the freshmen have been big time, and they've not only lived up to expectations thus far, but all three have been pertinent to this team. And I believe even past these freshmen, there's one player this year that has been even more key to Minnesota's success and made huge strides from last year to this year. And that's who we're going to talk about coming up next, because honestly, I think they're the key to this team and the success that they can find in this 2022-2023 season. We're going to talk about that coming up next, but you got to head on over to our friends who sponsored this episode today, BetOnline. They're your number one sports source when it comes to sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. On top of that, you can head to the website today to learn more about pro football, college football bowl season, basketball, World Cup, NHL, golf. Golf, yes, there are still people golfing out there because they live in warmer places than us here in Minnesota. But you can find all of the amateur league and professional league information, stats, stuff out there, more lines, more props, more odds than ever before over at BetOnline. Now, BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, we're wrapping up today's episode with the women's basketball program and a player who I think has been the most important player for this team, for the youth on this team, for the leadership on this team, and that is none other than Rose Mashaw, who is absolutely taken a leap from last year to this year. Her true freshman season to her sophomore year, she's taken a leap, she's grown, and she's kind of a staple of what this Gophers program has been. And that's the growth and the development and the trajectory upward, moving to be one of the more competitive teams in the entire conference, and never doubting what this team can do, but always looking to prove the outside noise wrong and show what's really cooking for this Gophers women's basketball team. Now, she's second on the team in points per game at 12.4 points per game. She's first on the team in rebounds per game at 7.1. She's shooting an efficient 47.3% from the field and has a number of double doubles to go with her huge leap this season. Now, when I'm talking double doubles, it's not just one, it's not just two. She's had 4 double doubles on the season already, and she has 3 games within a rebound or 2 of having more double doubles. So she had 2 with 9 rebounds with a 15 points and I believe an 18-point game where she had 9 rebounds. And then last night she had 13 points and 8 rebounds as well. And now when I say last night, I'm talking about 12-12. Again, bear with me, honeymoon trip. Thank you for your patience. But what I'm saying is that she's nearly had 9 double-doubles, or no, she's nearly had 7 double-doubles, and she actually has 4 double-doubles on the season. But even more so, her leadership on the court is more than apparent. She's a key player for this Gophers team. She helps fire a team up. She helps them stay calm in critical situations. And the timing of her offensive rebounds have been key for this team because she is consistently fighting for her team to have second chance points in moments where they truly need them, in moments where they're making a comeback, in moments where they need to push for a lead. She's finding key and critical offensive rebounds that this team truly needs for second chance opportunities. Her growth, Rose's growth overall, on top of a healthy Katie Buckets, and paired with the freshmen, have given this team an extremely strong core of players to build the foundation of the program on. You add all of that together, and then you pair it with key veteran role players like Gradwell, like Oberg, like Caton, like Hammond. Those 4 in spurts have huge contributions for this team. Hammond hits huge 3-pointers. Actually, Hammond has one of the best jumpers on this team. I'll say it, like, it's for real. She's underrated. Oberg is a great size for this team, a great big for this team, and she comes up with critical rebounds. She comes up with critical low post scores. She also can find an open player and drop dimes. So she's been big. Talking about dropping dimes, Nicole Caton is legit. The no look she's dropping out there even catch teammates by surprise sometimes because they're just chef's kiss. Some of those dimes are the real deal. And then Gradwell and her 3-point ability, they're perfect role players to play around the core of this team that we're seeing. And this program is in great shape. This team is fun, and they'll likely be a team that will continue to win games that they're not supposed to win. And it'll be fun to see if they can really continue to make some noise and maybe sneak into the tournament this year as well. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of Locked On Golden Gophers. I thank you for listening. Please hit subscribe on YouTube and join the community. I appreciate you all, and we're getting there. Now, next week, we're going to talk about the keys to beating Syracuse in the bowl game. We're going to talk about what has beaten them, the commonalities of what has beaten them, and what hasn't beaten them in their past season, and a whole lot more. So be sure to hit subscribe. This is Kane Rob signing off. Have a good one. I'll see you next week. Row the boat, Sky Ma. Go Gophers.